Good evening. Good evening ke? Alhamdulillah, good evening. Berapa orang ni? Ada 13. Okay, so guys, don't forget to key in your attendance. Jangan lupa key in attendance. Okay, so I think I'll wait until 4:05. So we're gonna wait until at least around 40 to 50% first before we can start. So kita tunggu sekejap So sorry lambat sebab tadi kelas tu habis lambat sikit. Internet problem, so lambat sikit lah hari ni. Good evening. Hi. Okay, jangan lupa attendance malam. I'll wait for another 2 minutes and then we are going to start. Okay, so before we start with the lecture, this is for inequalities. So basically we're gonna finish inequalities today, and then for the next class we will start with absolute value. Oh, good evening. Apa ni? Apa? VN. Salah sebut tu ya. Absolute values, you're gonna spend around 2 hours for them. Absolute value, so that means this week and next week. Okay, 1 more minute. Don't forget your attendance. Oh, by the way, those who are already here, can you listen to me? Are you listening to me? Bukan, macam mana I cakap? Is it clear? Macam mana? So nak tahu sama ada dengar ke tak? Mendengar lah ni. Kalau tak dengar, macam nak lupa sikit lah. Good evening. Wah, semua orang good evening. Yes, maksudnya dengar lah. It's loud and clear. Is it too loud? Sebab dia macam betul depan. Oh, it's already 4:05. Okay, so now let us start then. Kuat sangat ke? Lari sikit. Okay, so learning outcome. At the end of the lesson, you should be able to relate the properties of inequalities and then solve linear inequalities, solve the quadratic inequalities by using graphical approach. So we're going to sketch the quadratic graph and then see how are we going to solve them. And then we're going to solve rational inequalities involving linear expressions. So our rational inequalities are quite easy because we simply have one factor in our numerator and another factor in our denominator. So we're going to solve simple rational inequalities first because we need to test our understanding first, and then you can move to another question in your tutorial. Okay, so the properties of inequalities. If A is greater than B, then that means if I adding one number to the A and to the B, of course I am adding the same number. So what will happen is that my inequality sign doesn't change. So an addition or subtraction does not change the inequality sign. So the inequality sign will stay the same. However, if I do some multiplication, it will be slightly different. Okay, so this one, is AC greater than BC. For C that is greater than 0, that means C is a positive number. So I times with a positive number on the left hand side and right hand side. So that means the inequality sign doesn't change. So multiplication or division with positive number, only with positive number, does not change the inequality sign. So do make sure if you do multiplication or division with a positive number, don't change the inequality sign. So we're gonna stay the inequality sign. Okay, so another one, I do a multiplication as well, but this time the C is a negative number. So just now it is a positive, and then this is a negative number. Okay, so what happened to the inequality sign? Okay, so before this, we have AC greater than BC. So that is for C greater than 0. However, this time for C less than 0, we have to flip the inequality sign. So the inequality sign change because multiplication or division with negative number. So as long as you divide or you times with some negative number, we're going to flip our inequality sign. Okay, so now another one. If let's say we are taking some reciprocal, so we started with A greater than B, and then we want to do 1 over B, 1 over A. So what will happen is that we're going to flip our inequality sign. So inequality sign change because of the reciprocal. So if let's say we do 1 over, do make sure to flip the inequality sign. Okay, so done with the properties. So now, give the solution set for the following inequalities. So let us start with the easiest one. So we have 4x minus 5 less than 2x plus 9. Okay, so 4x minus 5 less than 2x plus 9. So what are we going to do next is that we're going to bring all the numbers to the right hand side. So this number, I'm going to bring it to the right hand side. This 2x, we're going to bring it to the left hand side. So it will become 4x minus 2x less than 9 plus with 5. So that is how you end up with 2x less than 40. So this is simply plus and minus. So that means the inequality sign does not change. So now I want to make sure that I have x as the subject. So in order to get rid of the 2, so we can either times with 1 over 2 or we can divide by 2 on both sides. If let's say we times with 1 over 2 on both sides, 1 over 2 is actually some positive number. So that is how you end up with x less than 7. So times with 1 over 2 times with 2x, and this is 1 over 2 times with 14. So times with some positive number, do not flip your inequality sign. Okay, so that means the solution set. So this is the set notation. So those braces are represent the set. So x such that those double dot mean x such that x will be less than 7. So this is our solution set. Okay, so I have done A. So now it's your turn to do B. Okay, so B, we have 3x plus 5 greater than or equal to x minus 7. So now I'm going to give you around 1 minute for you to try the question, and then after that, let us check whether do you get the same answer with me or not. So always make sure you're going to have x as the subject. Okay, so 1 minute. Siapa yang dah dapat jawapan boleh tulis kat chat kalau dah dapat. Negative 6, you cannot give simply negative 6. It should be greater than negative 6, less than negative 6 and so on. So dia tak boleh letak nombor macam tu sajalah. Dia mesti kena ada simbol inequality. Okay, so 6 seconds, 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, 1. Done. Okay, so now let's see. Syahira, Alia tak boleh letak nombor saja. Dia mesti kena ada satu simbol juga. Okay, so now x greater than -4, -6. Okay, mari kita tengok lah mana satu jawapan yang betul. Okay, so now what should we do? So I have x, so let us bring the x to the left hand side and the numbers to the right hand side. Okay, so what we will have is 2x greater than or equal to -12, because over here we have -7, -5, and this is 3x minus x. And then we're going to let our x as the subject, so we're going to times with 1/2 on the left hand side and right hand side. So times with 1/2, we're going to get x greater than or equal to -6. So well done untuk siapa yang dapat jawapan, yang tak dapat, cuba lagi next time. Ada lagi soalan selepas ni. Okay, so now we have to present our answer in solution set form. So do make sure to draw the basis. Nak ada simbol tu. And then x such that x is greater than or equal to -6. So kita simply ambil yang ni dan kita masukkan dalam basis tu lah. Dia taklah panggil basis sangat, tapi sajalah saya panggil lah. Okay, next. Right, so now solve the following inequalities and write the answer in the interval form. So just now we have solution set, so this is interval form. Okay, so now let me try to do A for you. Okay, so A, I have -2 less than or equal to -x plus 4/2 less than or equal to 9. Okay, so I need to make sure that I have x as the subject. So I should do something with the 2. Okay, so what I should do with the 2 is that I'm going to times 2 on the left hand side. I'm going to times 2 on the right hand side. So since 2 is definitely a positive number, so that means I don't have to flip the inequality sign. Okay, so it will become -4 less than or equal to -x plus 4 less than or equal to 18. So we're going to multiply with 2 on the left hand side and right hand side. So the inequality sign doesn't change since 2 is a positive number. So now we've got to make sure we have x as the subject. So what we should do next is that we're going to minus negative on the left hand side and right hand side. Okay, so now we have -8 less than or equal to -x less than or equal to 14. But we do have some negative number in front of the x. So I need to make sure that the coefficient of x is +1. So I need to get rid of this -1. So let us times everything with -1. So times -1 times -1 times -1. So we are multiplying with some negative numbers. So do make sure to flip the inequality sign. So it will be 8 greater than or equal to x greater than or equal to -14, sorry. But this inequality sign doesn't make any sense. So kita tak boleh jumpa benda yang macam tu, besar-besar macam tu. So we have to flip the number again. So rewrite this in the correct form. So it should be -14 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 8. Okay, so this one, do make sure to flip the inequality sign because you are multiplying with some negative number. However, rewrite them in the correct form because we shouldn't have any, the smaller number should be on the left hand side, the bigger number should be on the right hand side. So do make sure to rewrite them. Okay, so rewrite in the correct form. So that is A. So now the solution interval. So solution interval. So since we have the equal sign over here, so that means this is a square bracket. So equal sign, a square bracket as well. So -14, comma with 8. So those are solution interval. Okay, so now another one question that is for you. So we have 6 less than 4 minus x less than or equal to 12. So now again, I'm going to give you 1 minute for you to try them, and then let's see if you can get the correct answer. So 1 minute starting from now. 10 seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Someone already give the answer. Okay, let's see. -8, -2, -2, greater than 8, greater than -8. Greater than X, greater than -8. Okay, others? Ada orang lain nak cuba jawapan? Hari ni kita relax sikit lah. Kejut dalam. Don't worry, not me too. Saya pun kadang-kadang saya terkejut dengan bunyi alam tu. That's why I can wake up, I think. Okay, so now let us see you have the correct answer or not. Okay, so what do we have here is the 4. So let us bring the 4 to the left hand side and right hand side. So we're going to add 2 less than -x less than or equal to 8. And then since we have negative in front of the x, so we should times with 1 on the left hand side and right hand side. Therefore, we have -2 greater than x greater than or equal to -8. However, this inequality sign doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Why? Because this is bigger than this. So when you write them down, nombor yang kecil kena kiri, nombor yang besar kena kanan. So let us write them down in the correct form. So do make sure to flip them. So it will be -x less than or equal to -8 less than or equal to x less than -2. Okay, so now the answer will be -8, -2. Okay, so since we have the equal sign at -8, so that is why this is a square bracket. And then no equal sign at -2, so a simple bracket or a round bracket like usual. Okay, so berapa orang yang betul ni? Nombor hampir semua betul kot saya rasa, cumanya the equal sign je kot. You didn't pay much attention, so please pay more attention whether do you have the equal sign or not. So if you have the equal sign, do make sure to use the square bracket. So mesti kena pakai square lah bila kita ada equal. Okay, done with this, let me proceed. Okay, so this is quadratic inequalities. So a quadratic inequality is an inequality of the form ax squared plus bx plus c greater than 0, where a, b and c are real number with a cannot be equal to 0. Because if a is equal to 0, we simply have some linear function. Okay, so now ax squared plus bx plus c greater than 0. Okay, so the inequality symbol less than, equal, and greater than equal may also be used. So it's not necessarily need to be greater than, so you can replace them with these 3 other symbols. Okay, so quadratic inequalities can be solved by using graphical or algebraic approach. Normally for me, I prefer the graphical approach. Okay, so the graph of a quadratic expression is sketched, and the point where the graph cuts the x-axis, say the p and the q are to find what is the value of x such that y equal to 0. So bila dah jumpa nilai tu, then we can note them on our graph. Okay, and then we're gonna sketch the graph. So basically, if let's say the a is greater than 0, so the coefficient of x squared is greater than 0, so that simply means we're gonna have a smile graph. So for a smile graph, y is greater than 0 whenever x is less than p or x must be greater than q. So do check, this is the graph. So this is point P, this is point Q. So this region is above the x-axis, and this region is also above the x-axis. Okay, so that means y is less than 0 whenever x is in between P and Q. So this region is below your x-axis. So when the region is below the x-axis, the value is negative. When the region is above the x-axis, the value will be positive. Okay, so the second one, if A is less than 0, okay, so if we have A less than 0, that means you're going to have a set graph. Okay, so now Y is greater than 0 whenever X is in between P and Q. So do check, this is your graph above the x-axis. So this is the region above the x-axis. So that is why we have X in between P and Q. Another one, Y is less than 0 when X is less than P or X is greater than Q. So it must be below the x-axis. That is why this is the region. And then this is the region. Kara 66, madam nak tanya example tu tak perlu tulis in the form like this. Those are called the set notation, but the question asks for the interval form. So interval form dalam bentuk yang bracket biasa tu lah, yang basis tu kita kata set notation. So kalau dia minta set notation, kita bagi dalam basis tu, kalau tak kita bubuh dalam bracket yang biasa lah, square ataupun apa dia, normal bracket tu. Okay, now solve the following inequalities by using graphical approach. So we have x squared plus 6x plus 5 greater than 0. Okay, so x squared plus 6x plus 5 greater than 0, do make sure to factorize them well. So factorize first, we're going to get x plus 5, x plus 1 greater than 0. Factorize completely, do make sure to do that. And then we're going to see the quadratic function. So that is our graph. We're going to get negative 5, negative 1. Oh, by the way, if you don't have any equal sign, so that means at negative 5, when you draw them, it shouldn't be a dense circle. It should be an empty circle. Katanya empty lah. Yang ni pun kena empty juga. Okay, so now y should be greater than 0. So that means it should be above the x-axis. So that is our region. So the answer will be x less than negative 5 or x will be greater than negative 1. So since we don't have any equal sign, so these two should be an empty circle. So that means these two shouldn't have any equal sign as well. And dia boleh guna number 9 form ke? Number 9 form maksudnya awak nak tulis jawapan dalam bentuk interval lah maksud awak. Number 9 interval ke? Jadi kalau tulis I proceed to the next one. Okay, so now this is the second question. Again, I'm going to give you 1 minute for you to do this question, and then let us see whether do you get the correct answer or not. 1 minit cukup ke? Cukup kot. Kalau tak cukup, nanti bagi tahu So 1 minute. Lain. Itu berapa? Habis dah. Sempat ke? Should I add some more time? Do you have the answer? Dapat jawapan ke? Nak tambah masa? Not yet. Okay, so I'll give you another 2 minutes then. 2 minit. Saya tambah masa sikit lah. Saya tambah bagi 2 minit. Cuba semua orang. Will do. I already add 2 minutes to the time, so boleh try lah. X less than 6 less than 1/3. 1/3 less than x less than 6. Ikhwan, are you sure both of them are less than? Kena shaded the area ke? It will be nicer if you can shade the area or the region sebab senang sikit kita nak verify. Nanti bila kita nak check mudah. Actually shade the region is one of the working step kita lah. Nak menunjukkan yang kata, oh, I'm looking for something. So that's another 25 seconds. Okay, done. Okay, so now, let us see the solution then. Okay, so we have 3x multiplied with x minus 5 less than or equal to 2 times with 2x minus 3. So the first step that you should do is that we should expand them first. So do make sure to expand. So you're going to get 3x squared minus 15x less than or equal to 4x minus with 6. And then of course, since this is a quadratic, bring everything to the left hand side and then we're going to factorize them completely. Okay, so bring it to the left hand side. So we got 3x squared minus 19x plus 6 less than or equal to 0. Factorize completely, we're going to get 3x minus 1, x minus 6 less than or equal to 0. So now let us sketch the quadratic graph. So 1/3 and 6. So we're gonna, we want something that is less than 0. So it simply means something below the x-axis. So below the x-axis, it means that the x should be in between 1/3 and 6. So this is the graph below the x-axis. So this is the x-axis below it. So this is where we want to find our answer. Okay, so now how to write down the answer? So you can write down in the side notation. So x is x such that x is actually in between 1/3 and 6, including 1/3 and of course including 6. So this is solution set. If you want to write them down in solution interval, so this is 1/3, 6. So ini solution interval, ini solution set. Okay, done with this. So now rational inequalities. Okay, so for example, we have 2x minus 1 over x plus 3 less than 0. So those are rational. 3x plus 1 over 2x minus 5 greater than or equal to 5x. So those are also rational. 1 plus 2x over x plus 2 greater than negative 5. So those are rational as well. So rational is when you have something in fraction. Oh, sebenarnya no. Okay, rational inequalities are inequalities that can be expressed as px over qx greater than 0, px over qx greater than or equal to 0, px over qx than 0, and px over qx equal to 0. So in algebraic approach, so this is the theorem. Okay, so a over b is greater than 0 if and only if. Okay, so a over b, is greater than 0 if and only if A is positive, B is positive. So positive number divide with some positive number, then we can get A over B, which is some positive number. Or A must be less than 0 and B must be less than 0 as well. So A is a negative number, B also a negative number. So that is why we can have something that is greater than 0. Okay, macam mana nak tahu bila sign less than atau greater than tu kena ubah? Yang tu siapa ingat? Bila sign less than atau greater than kena ubah? Awak follow benda yang awak ada. Tapi saya rasa biasanya yang ubah tu adalah absolute value rasanya. Mungkin awak confuse dengan absolute value kot. Yang ni adalah inequalities. Never mind, I proceed. Oh, okay. Bila ubah negatif, betul juga kan? When you times with negative number, you're going to flip the inequality sign. That is true as well. So A over B is 0 if and only if A is greater than B and B if A is greater than 0 and B is less than 0. So A over B. If we want this to be less than 0 or some negative number, that means if A is a positive number, B definitely is a negative number. So positive over negative, then the answer will be negative. Or A is a negative number, B is a positive number. So, kita kena tukar sign. Positive, negative, positive. Betul lah. A is less than 0, so A is a negative number, B is a positive number. When you divide them, you're going to get something that is less than 0. So those are the theorem. Okay, so now I skip example 4, so I go straight to example 5. Find the solution to the following inequalities. So I give you x minus 2 over x plus 4 less than or equal to 0 and 3x plus 1 over x plus 4 less than or equal to 1. Okay, so let us start with the easiest one first, x minus 2 over x plus 4. So those are rational inequalities because we have something in fraction. Okay, so the first step, what you should do. Okay, so we got to make sure that the right hand side is 0 and whatever that we have on the left hand side, we must factorize them completely. So now, my right hand side is already 0, so yang ni dah sebelah kanan dah sama dengan kosong, so that is fine. Now you check your left hand side. Have you factorized them completely or not? Okay, so kalau dah factorize completely, so kita tick lah. Okay, again I repeat, the first step before you start, you should make sure that your right hand side is equal to 0. So that means if you have any number, minus that number on the left hand side and right hand side. Do make sure that the right hand side is 0. And then on your left hand side, make sure you factorize them completely. Yang ni tak perlu lah sebab dua-dua dah linear kan, so dah factorize lah. Okay, so now the second step, so this is very crucial. Always make sure that you assume them to be greater than 0. So in the question, if we have something with the equal sign, then that means your numerator, so this is your numerator. Take your numerator and it should be greater than or equal to 0. So kita akan follow lah, kalau dekat sini ada equal, sini pun akan ada equal. So assume sentiasa positif. And then this is your denominator. Denominator. Okay, you take your denominator. So x plus 4 is our denominator and you let them to be greater than 0. Okay, so for denominator, you should be very careful never to let them equal to 0. So bahagian pembawah kita tak boleh sama dengan kosong. Kalau tidak nanti fraction kita akan dapat undefined. So always make sure if the question has some equal sign, only the numerator will take the equal sign. For denominator, always make sure you don't have any equal sign. Lagi sekali ya, penekanan. Saya repeat lagi sekali. If you have equal sign in your question, only numerator will take the equal sign. For denominator, it is always greater than without the equal sign. Okay, so now we're gonna solve to find out what is x. So now, always assume to be greater than 0. So the equal sign depends on the question. So that is for our numerator. For denominator, no equal sign because denominator cannot be equal to 0. So this is the fourth time I repeat. No equal sign for denominator. Okay, so that means x will be greater than or equal to 2. And on the right hand side, have x greater than negative 4. So always make sure you have x as the subject. Okay, so now next. Okay, so we have x greater than negative 4, x greater than or equal to 2. So saya tukar tempat sikit lah sebab negative 4 nombor dia kecil kan. So sebelah kiri, 2 besar, so sebelah kanan. Okay, so now we're going to draw one number line. So negative 4 is on the left hand side, 2 is on the right hand side. Always make sure to be extra careful when you are doing your number line. Make sure they are in ascending order, especially when it's involved the negative numbers. So bila dia involve nombor yang negatif, pastikan nombor yang betul. Nombor tu berada dalam posisi yang betul. Siapa kecil, siapa besar. Okay, so now we got to draw our number line now. Okay, so this is for x greater than negative 4. So we are going to start from negative 4, going straight away to the positive infinity. And then another one for x greater than or equal to 2. So do take note that this is an unfilled circle. So it's not a dense circle, empty circle lah, unfilled ke empty circle ke. Because we don't have the equal sign at negative 4. And then at 2, we do have the equal sign. So it must be a filled circle or a dense circle because we do have the equal sign. Okay, so up until that, is that okay? So far okay. Case number 9 tu, okay. Okay tak? Okay ke? Case number 9? Okay, right. So I'll proceed to the next one, okay? Okay, so now the next one. After you draw your number 9, the next step that you should do is simply write down positive. Do you remember when we assumed just now, we assumed that it should be positive, right? So that is the reason why we assume positive. So that on top of our line over here, we're gonna write down positive, positive, positive. It simply means that if I substitute any number from here to here, this one will be a positive answer. From 2 up until infinity, if I substitute into this factor, it's gonna be positive. If I substitute here until here for this factor, it will also be positive. Okay, so now other than that, if you don't have anything with a line, so kalau dah tak ada line, simply write down negative. So biasanya kita akan letak plus, tambah, tolak je lah. Kita tak tulis lah plus BE tu. Plus BE tu sebab saya nak bagi nampak clear sikit je. Okay, so positive and the negative. So now, what happened is that we're going to test. So we have some negative number over here. So if we substitute into the factor, we're going to get some negative number. If we substitute over here, we're going to get some negative number as well. This is for x plus 4. This is for x minus 2. Okay, you substitute any number from negative infinity until negative 4. It's going to give you some negative number here and negative number here. If you substitute from negative 4 until 2, using the x plus 4 substitute, you're going to get some positive number, negative number, positive, and positive. So now we're going to get the conclusion. Okay, so if we have some negative number, divide with some negative number, we're going to get a positive number. Positive, divide with some negative number, it will become negative. Positive, divide with a positive, it will become positive number. Okay, so now, based on the question, based on the factorized form, we want to get the answer for x minus 2 over x plus 4 less than or equal to 0. That means we are looking for what is the value of x such that when I substitute into here and here, it will give me a negative answer. So referring to here, in order to get some negative number, the x should be in between negative 4 up until 2. So that means your final answer is x in between -4 and 2. So do make sure some equal sign at 2 because this is a dense circle, or interval -4, 2. So this one must be a square bracket because we have the equal sign at 2. Cikgu tanya for example 2 boleh guna number line macam ni for example 2. Example 2 tadi yang mana? Yang kuadratik tu. Sekarang sekejap lagi. Later on I'll go to this example. I want to give one exercise for you first. Okay, so now. So this is one question. So I'll give you around 5 minutes. I think 2 minutes is not enough. So I'll give you around 5 minutes for you to try this question. Okay, always make sure I'll give you one hint. Oh, tadi ajar guna graph. Boleh. Kuadratik kita boleh solve guna number line juga. Sebab boleh. Untuk kuadratik kita guna number line pun tak ada masalah. Number line boleh pakai untuk kuadratik, boleh pakai untuk rational function. So kalau you nak pakai number line, you boleh pakai untuk semua lah. Okay, so 3x over x plus 4 less than or equal to 1. So 5 minutes starting from now. But I'll give you one hint. Do make sure that the right hand side definitely need to become 0. Sebelah kanan mesti kena sama dengan kosong. Kalau ada nombor, pastikan bawa ke kiri dulu. Maksudnya tolak kanan kiri dengan -1. Lepas tu baru simplify the. So I give you one hint. Cikgu tadi ajar method table of sign ke? Oh tak, tadi sebenarnya number line. Cumanya sebab saya takut awak tak faham apa yang berlaku dekat number line tu. Sebab tu saya cerita kalau kata awak ganti value sepatutnya awak akan dapat sama macam table of sign. Saya pun prefer number line sebab dia lebih cepat sikit nak kira. Tapi nanti kita tengoklah. Kalau rasa macam ada problem, nanti saya ajar guna table of sign tak. Okay, ada masa. Cuba. Ingat hint saya yang pertama, sebelah kanan mesti kosong dulu. Ada nombor, tolak dulu sebelah kiri, tolak sebelah kanan, pastikan kanan tu kosong. Okay, 2 minit 30 saat lagi semua orang. Cuba sehabis mungkin, nanti kita compare start kita. Kita tengok sampai mana awak dapat buat. Kalau siapa yang dah dapat answer boleh tulis answer awak dan kita check. Nanti sama-sama kita compare lah. Kita tengok kita dapat jawapan apa. Lepas tu kita ada 100 something. Kita 76 je sekarang. Yang lain mungkin nak tengok rakaman kot. Tak, je. Thirty seconds to go. Oh, ada 2 orang dah dapat jawapan. Ada orang lain dapat jawapan lain? Tak apa, tulis je. Betul ke salah ke, kita kan tengah belajar. Oh, so interval and to set position. Okay. Yes. Ada siapa-siapa perlu tambahan masa? Masa kecederaan ataupun masa kecemasan? Anyone need some more time? I can give you another 1 or 2 minutes if you need to. Okay, so you might not need some more minutes. So never mind, I'll go straight away to the answer then. Okay, so now what should we do now? Okay, we should bring the 1 to the left hand side. Okay, so now I give you one reminder. Reminder. Okay, do not multiply across the inequality sign. Okay, pastikan jangan bawa denominator dekat sini pergi sebelah kanan lah. Never cross the inequality sign. You can cross the equal sign. Equal tak ada masalah, tapi bila kita ada simbol inequality, kita kena jaga betul-betul. Why? If we times with some negative number, we should flip the sign. But since this is x, we do not know whether is it a positive or a negative number. So you should always be careful never to cross multiply. Never cross multiply when you do end up with some rational inequalities. If you have inequalities, never cross multiply. So now bring the 1 to the left hand side. So we are going to get 3x plus 1 over x plus 4 minus 1 less than or equal to 0. Have a common denominator, so we're going to change the 1 into something with a fraction. Okay, so it will become 3x plus 1 yes, x minus 4 over 3x plus 4 less than or equal to 0. So simplify your numerator. We're going to get 2x minus 3 over x plus 4 less than or equal to 0. So now do check. Is the right hand side is already equal to 0? So yes, the right hand side is already 0. See the left hand side, have you factorized them completely or not? If you can factorize them, then factorize completely first. So yang ni dah dalam bentuk linear over linear, so there's nothing else to factorize, so this is also okay. So we can actually proceed to the next one. Okay, so now assume that our numerator, this is our numerator, this is for the numerator. Okay, so for our numerator, 2x minus 3 should be greater than or equal to 0. So we're going to apply the equal sign because in our question just now, we have the equal sign. For your denominator, it should always be greater than 0 only with no equal sign. And then simply make sure to have x as the subject. So x will be greater than or equal to 3 over 2. Another one is x greater than negative 4. So now we're going to draw one number line. So between 3 over 2 and negative 4. Negative 4 is a smaller number. So it should be on the left hand side. 3 over 2 is a bigger number. So on the right hand side then. Okay, so now negative 4, 3 over 2. Make sure be very careful with the number line. It should be in ascending order. And then greater than negative 4, empty circle going to the right hand side, 3 over 2 going to the right hand side as well. Do make sure a fill circle because we have the equal sign. On top of the line, it should always be positive. So positive, positive, positive. Without the line, it should be negative. So negative, negative, negative. And then we're gonna find out what is negative over negative. So negative divided by negative, positive. Positive over negative over here. Positive over negative, so it should be negative. And then another one is positive over positive, so it should be a positive number. So now let us refer to the question. So the question wants us to find out the answer for x minus 3 over x plus 4 less than or equal to 0. That means we are looking for some negative answer. So that is why this is your answer, negative 4 up until 3 over 2. So it should be x greater than negative 4 or x less than or equal to 3 over 2 or an interval negative 4 up until 3 over 2. So I can see that all 7 of you get the correct answer. So 7 betul lah. So well done everyone. So I think that's it for this lecture. So I'll see you guys this Tuesday. So jumpa hari Selasa nanti. Bye. Habis dah. Oh, by the way, got any question? Do you have any other question? Ada soalan ke nak tanya? No more question? Tak ada soalan lah. Okay, macam tak ada je tu. Kalau ada soalan nanti tanya dalam grup WhatsApp. Bye.